Morning, guys. Let's see who's here. Maria, Ethan here, Karina here, Logan here, Mayo, Alex, Laurel here, Moberly excused today, Lauren here, Stevie here, Darren Noble, Carter, Randall here, Jared here, Smith here, Bryson here, and Clayton here. All right. The last two lectures especially, we talked quite a bit about earnings, a bit, and that sort of stuff. At that point, for kind of quick access, I use financial statements from Yahoo. But for anything real you're going to do, you need to go to the actual sources, and we'll kind of travel through those statements, what certain items mean, what certain other things you need to look at. We're going to go to sec.gov, okay? And depending upon your zoom level, if you zoom out a little bit, we're going to hit the link company filings. I'm going to look at today one of my favorite companies for future investment, Palantir Technologies. They're in the forefront of actually making money from AI business, not through software, but not through hardware like NVIDIA does, but actual applications. These guys have sold a lot of systems to U.S. defense industry. And the last year or so, they've been getting a lot of private clients as well. And they're also getting into things like national healthcare system in England. And God knows U.S. healthcare system is in need of some intelligence. Forget about the AI. I mean, it's such a system where you have, probably 20 different databases, and none of them talk to each other. If they did, they probably would get a lot of efficiencies out of them. For example, Medicaid and Medicare do not talk to each other. And those guys spend a lot of money. And once you get the company's filings page, there are a lot of different filings. What we are most interested is the 10K and 10Q reports. Who knows the difference between a 10K and a 10Q? It's okay if you didn't know. 10K is a 10Q for the last quarter of the fiscal year. Everything is reported in annual terms for earnings and cash flow. Otherwise, 10Q is just a quarterly report. That is not the last quarter of the fiscal year. The last 10Q has been the last year, and you could directly hit open filing, okay? There is actually a text document or HTML document you can open, but we're a lot more civilized than that. There is something called interactive data, Click on that, and you can get access to different components, actual financial statements, the balance sheets, condensed versus parenthetical, the income statement. Unfortunately, there is no standard. Some companies call it the income statement. Some companies call it statement of operations. I have even seen a statement of revenues and expenses, but they all mean the same thing, income statement. Even if you're not sure what it is, if you open it up, it should be obvious to you. And we're going to also look at statement of cash flows. We will also look at the statement of shareholder equity, because there is part of that statement. It normally reports some breakdown of the equity, but there is part of that statement that's called comprehensive income. These are certain items that are not directly reported in the income statement, but these are things that actually does affect the company. You can look at the notes to financial statements, and what we're gonna look at in these cases, some of their investments, and some certain balance sheet components. But most importantly, we're going to look at things like stock-based compensation. Okay. But a lot of these things are actually collected in one document. Anytime there is a table in these filings, that table is actually in this Excel document. So if you click on View Excel Document, let's go ahead and save it. Please, somebody remind me to do something about this. I don't know about you, but it drives me crazy. You can turn off the lights if you want. I mean, in the old days, we could control some of these lights, but this room, we don't have that. Let's open that up. This is typically the cover page. Probably the only interesting thing you're going to find over there is total common shares outstanding. For different classes. In this case, it has, I think, three different shares. This is pretty much the one that's available to public, and that's Class B, Class F. I am sure that pretty much means founder shares. When companies have multiple share classes, more often than not, they have different voting powers. That way, founders can actually keep control of the company without necessarily owning a majority share. For example, Google has founder shares. Each founder share has 10 times the vote of Class A shares, and they also have Class C shares, which has no voting power at all. I don't know what this one is. That's probably Class A. For valuation purposes, it doesn't matter too much. Now, first thing we're going to look at is balance sheet. The cash and cash equivalents are typically the actual cash and the money in the bank. And you have marketable securities. And for accounting purposes, the way you classify investments in securities matter. Technically, there are three types, the so-called marketable securities. These can be sold at any time, and the way you keep accounting of them, you keep the fair value. You can also have investments that are not for trading. You actually account for them at their historical cost, just like any long-term asset. And you also have securities that are available for trading. And they're kind of in between, but you also account for them at fair market value. But for our purposes, we're going to treat marketable securities. They're like cash-like investments. They can be converted to cash very quickly. And as you can see, compared to the previous, why is that? I think they may have changed their fiscal year. Compared to December 31, 2022, they had about $2.5 billion in cash, but right now they have only $1 billion. But you can see that marketable securities have gone up from almost nothing to $2.2 billion. So as far as cash, they actually have increased in value. It's about $3.3 billion compared to about $2.6 billion.